Now get ready for Watching Weird, your ultimate destination for mind-bending movie reviews and recommendations. From hidden gems to cult classics, we explore it all. Hosted by storytellers and cinephils Alan Gamboa, Scott Baker, Rich Restucci, and Hadley Thorne, with a special shout-out to Landis Aldana and Alan Lasseter for their incredible support that help us keep the lights on at Weird. Now grab your Coke, popcorn, and tinfoil hat, and let's get weird.
I forgot my
That's
tinfoil hat
weird.
again.
Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day.
Yeah, that's right.
Hello, everyone.
I still get lost sometimes thinking we're on Thursdays. Yeah.
There's been
You
many
know.
a Wednesday night. It's like 8:45. It's like, oh wait, tonight's the show.
Yeah, man.
Tonight's
Thursday
the
was
night.
tough for me.
Yeah.
It was just towards the end of the week, and I was always having to work late. So it was
16 more days of school, and then it's summer vacation. And I'm gonna write my butt off.
That's good. That's good. I wish.
I hate summers coming up because we get terrorized by the kids that aren't going to school over at the golf course, man.
Yeah.
They've got nothing to do but terrorize the golf course.
Can't you like shoot
Can't
golf
just, like,
balls
shoot
at 'em?
Yeah, but I mean, what can you can tell them? You're trespassing, and they can say, and then we call the cops, and if the cops get there, whenever, if they come, then
Or can't you just
we've
like
got no authority.
can't you have all the golfers just aim golf balls at them?
I wish. If I was a golfer, I'd be like, bam. Oh, I didn't see you there. Sorry.
Hey, you're not
Golf
supposed
gun.
to be here.
Get a pellet gun and shoot him in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish. I told the boss, I said, can we get one of those EMP guns so we can, just zap their electric bikes, but
And their phones.
Can't do that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
that'd be fun. But anyway, I digress, you guys. Go on with your stuff. Go on with your stuff.
I got nothing to say, man. I just want to say hi to Dan. Hey, Dan.
Oh,
Hey, Dan.
go to the comment
Thanks for
section.
joining us.
Dan,
So
I
tonight-
want to reach out to you sometime in the near future for getting battle tested history restarted. It's just, I told my mother tonight I wanted to put me on life support, unplug me for 10 seconds, and plug me back in. Maybe that'll reset the brain.
You're putting your brains on the pages, Scott. That's where they're going.
Right.
Well, tonight we've got all race movies.
Yes.
All race movies, Gumball Rally, Cannonball Run, and It's a Madman World.
Yeah.
These are all kind of similar because they all end up in California. All three of the movies.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's plenty of crashes galore in this. So, you guys want anything before we start? Well, we're going to go chronological or by what year these movies are made. So we'll go by the oldest first and then work our way.
All right.
So, you guys got anything? Anything to? before we
No, I'm
start?
good. Let's begin.
All right. I got It's a Mad World. This movie is a classic that very few people know about, especially in the older generations. Made 1963, my birth year, by Stanley Kramer. Now, anybody who knows Stanley Kramer, prior to this, he did phenomenal dramatic movies. Judgment at Nuremberg, about the Nuremberg trials. On the Beach, about the whole world being wiped out except for Australia. The Caine Mutiny, one of the greatest naval movies of all time. And then he comes out with It's a Mad World, which is a hysterical, multi-cast comedy. The movie's brilliant. It starts with four different groups of people are driving along a road in California. There's Jonathan Winters, who's a truck driver just moving furniture. There's Buddy Hackett and Mickey Rooney, who are these, two guys out just having a good time. Sid Caesar and his wife, who are on their second honeymoon, and Milton Berle, his wife, and the mother-in-law, Ethel Merman, who is just she is the quintessential pain in the butt mother-in-law. And as they're driving through this mountain road, this car races past them, goes off the road, just goes off the road, and
sailed right out there.
Huh?
I said it sailed right out there.
Just sailed right up there. And they go down, it's Jimmy Durante. And Jimmy Durante's about to die, but he tells them there's $350,000 in Santa Rosita Park hidden under a big W. So when he wants them to have it. So they're like, it's like, oh my God, this poor guy. But then they start thinking, well, wait a minute. We're the only one. Now, for $350,000 today is nothing. But back then, it was huge. So they can't figure out a way to divide it equally. So all four of them set out to be the first to the park to find it. Meanwhile, and this is what I think is brilliant, there's the cop who's been overseeing this case and trying to find the money, played by Spencer Tracy, who is not a comedic actor. But he is beautiful in this role because he plays most of it straight, but he adds to the comedy. So he puts police tails on all of them so they can find out where they're going, and then they can go in and get the money back that was stolen. From here on in, it just becomes madcap comedy. There are dozens of other comedic actors that were huge in that day. What was the guy's? Well, Dick Shawn is in it. He was in The Producers. Let's see. Phil Silvers, my favorite. He was my favorite character in the whole thing. Terry Thomas, Eddie Anderson, who played Rochester on the oh God, who was that? Who was that show?
Was it Jack Benny?
Jack Benny. Jack Benny has an appearance. Jim Backus, Joey Brown, Jerry Lewis. It's just like they took like almost every comedian then and somehow worked them into the movie. And it's got a great ending. But the thing that got me about this, I hadn't seen this for like about 40 years. I'm watching it again. It still holds up. It's a social commentary. People are greedy. People are stupid. Hasn't changed since 1963. But I think it was like revolutionary for the stunts. I was reading there were 100 stuntmen in Hollywood at the time. 80 of them were used in this movie. I mean, the car driving stunts are absolutely, they're hysterical and they're phenomenal. The way they're like swinging around, Jonathan Winters is hanging off the door as they're going down the street. My favorite scene, I laugh like a lunatic, is when Jonathan Winters destroys the garage with the two guys. Yeah. I laugh like a lunatic at that one. If you haven't seen this, I don't want to spoil it. Watch it. It's funny. I think it still holds up today quite a bit. Except that $350,000 today is not that much. But this is a classic movie. Ironically, let me see. Where was it? It didn't do too well when it first opened. When you watch this movie and you see the actors and the sets and all the stunts, it only cost $9 million to make, which I'd love to know what that would be in today's dollars. But it eventually grossed $46 million worldwide. This became a cult classic. And the version I watched is the remastered version. They found scenes that were cut out of the movie. They added it because I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember that scene before, and that's when I looked it up. So this is a classic. If you like comedy, you have got to watch. If you've seen it, great. If you haven't, it's 3.5 hours of your life that you'll laugh for 3.5 hours. Gentlemen, what do you think?
First, I'd like to say, sorry, Rich. Hi to Max, Landa, and Alan Lassiter for joining us. Go ahead, Rich. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. Go ahead. You go.
I saw the 2.5 hour version. I didn't see the 3 hour version because the subtitles weren't working on it,
Oh,
and I had to watch it while Tina was sleeping. So I missed all the extended, stuff they cut out, put back in. Love this movie. It's a lot of fun. That scene where Jimmy Durante kicks the butt, literally
yeah.
kicks the bucket, that was inspired. And the scene where they're on the ladder of the fire engine and they're flying around, the old stop motion King Kong special effect. That was hilarious. And like you said, the scene where he tears apart Jonathan Winter tears apart that gas station. That's just that holds up really well today. He's beating up those two, gas station attendants, and they're fighting back, and then they finally say, let's kill them. All right, we're gonna kill them, and he just still takes them both on. And also Phil Silvers, when he attacks Phil Silvers at the gas station too, that he actually hurt Phil Silvers when he in that scene.
Really?
Jonathan Winters, he actually injured him. Steals this movie, I feel. His character, and this is the first movie he ever made.
Really?
I always thought his humor, I really never liked his humor growing up. I thought it was kind of like too over the top, but I love him in this.
Yeah.
I mean, he's angry at Phil Silvers throughout the whole movie. He just wants to get a piece of him, Dick Shawn. I love that scene where he's dancing with Barry Chase. She is the only living cast member now, Barry Chase.
Really?
Everybody else is gone. That's the thing with all three of these movies. Most of the cast have passed away.
Yeah.
In all three of these movies, But yeah, I just when they're dancing, and they're doing that weird dancing. I mean, that's just it's so weird, But I was watching and going, are they high? And then I read about it, and Barry Chase said she consulted Steve McQueen on how to play that part, and he said, "Do it like you're stoned." So it makes sense, because that to me that's one of the real funny parts. Getting this cast must have been like herding us together.
Yeah.
I mean, Milton Berle and like you said, Phil Silvers is so good. He plays Sergeant Bilko just in everything. And he's great. And he had Peter Falk in it as one of the cab drivers.
Oh yeah.
And the connection to Three's Company. Do you know what that is?
Yeah. Mr. Roper.
Right, Mr. Roper. He had Norman Bell and he had Don Knotts. Yeah, and he had Don Knotts, both landlords in that TV series.
He was the detective that was. He went down when Durante went off the cliff. He was the first cop down.
I didn't even notice that.
Because he was young.
And then
yeah.
And then Don Knotts. He took over after Norman Bell went to do the Roper series. And the best cameo of all in this movie is, I know you guys know what it is, the airport scene, the Three Stooges standing there as firemen, and it's only like 5 seconds long. But you're like, you're just like, this is a fun chase movie, and it's inspired a lot of other movies. Definitely huge cast, and like you said, Scott, it wasn't really a big money maker till I think 74 or something like that. Then it had made like $50 million, something like that, which is a lot of money on a $9 million budget. But that's probably like a $50 million budget nowadays, than $9 million, or maybe even
probably more,
80 to 100 million. Yeah, because I think that 350 is worth $2 to 3 million now.
Yeah.
But it's great. It holds up. It's not as funny as I remembered it, but it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Seemed like he had the most scenery to chew. The couple, Sid Caesar.
Sid Caesar.
He was great.
Yeah, and he played mostly a straight man to Edie Adams.
Yeah.
Gosh, Edie Adams back then was just beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She was married to Ernie Kovacs, and he had died in a car wreck before production of this movie, and they were cast as the original couple in this.
Oh.
And she wasn't going to do it, but she did it, and she's great in that role. And Ethel Merman, you just want to you just want to do what everybody wants there. Everybody else in that movie wants to do to her. Great flick. I recommend this one. I'm not going to give away the ending. Spencer Tracy is fantastic in this.
Yes.
He doesn't overplay it. He plays it just right. And if you're a fan of old comedians, this movie, you'll see a lot. And Bill Burr was good in it, but he wasn't the best in it.
No, he wasn't. He was outshined by his mother-in-law.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Oh, and you know who else was in it, but most of his scenes got cut? Buster Keaton.
That's right.
He was Jimmy. He was Jimmy who was getting the car. But they cut out all of his scenes except for that one. So,
yeah.
See, I have an affection for this movie. Sorry. This was one of the first movies my parents took me to see.
Oh, wow.
So, and my father laughed like a lunatic during the garage scene.
Well, that garage scene is classic. I mean, it's just so stupidly outrageous.
I know
that it's great. And those guys play it up to the hilt.
Yeah, and the stuntmen in that were just phenomenal.
Yeah. Rich?
Yeah, this hits the nostalgia button for me too, because this was one of the first movies I can remember sitting on the couch with my dad, my little feet sticking just over the edge of the couch, and watching this with him. And he, like you said, Scott, he would just guffaw at this like a friggin' lunatic. It was great, and I would be laughing more at my dad laughing than at the movie, because I mean I was very, very young. I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 the first time I saw this, and it was on TV, and it was great. It was just one of those movies that I remembered throughout my life as just being fantastic, but I didn't watch it too much. I think I've seen this movie probably 3 or 4 times over the course of, I mean, it's 63 years old, 62 years old, something like that.
It's 62. It's my age. It came out when I was born.
There you go. So it's, it really hit that nostalgia button for me. And Ethel Merman, the voice on her as that mother-in-law, you could not remake this movie. You just couldn't do it because nobody could be able to touch that. She was just so unbelievably annoying. A blind person, someone who couldn't watch this movie, would have wanted to kill her, just throttle her because of that voice. And I mean, I know she used the voice. That's what she was famous for. And she was so annoying and just mean to her, to everybody, to everybody.
Yeah.
She just killed it. And Buddy Hackett, I always had a soft spot for Buddy Hackett. Yeah. He's just absolutely hilarious in everything he does with that dumb look on his face that he always had, and it was great. A lot of times people don't understand, like you said, Scott, there are 100 stuntmen, right, for this film. So the driving stunts back then, they didn't have the technical know-how and the science of the driving that they do now. Yeah. So a lot of it was just practical. And when they were smashing cars and rolling cars over, you had to be prepared to get hurt. There's this one scene at the end, and it's a chase scene, and there's 2 cabs chasing another cab. Like you said, Scott, I don't want to wreck this for anybody, because if you haven't seen this, you need to see this movie. And the dark car is coming down this alley, and there's a person in the way, and that person jumps out of the way half a second before that car would have flattened them. And that is a practical stunt. They didn't have anything like that back then. That whoever that was just jumped right out of the way, and I was like, oh, because you think of Ben-Hur in the chariot scene where people actually died. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that person get out of the way so fast. It was
like the one with the Jonathan Winters character just getting in when they take off, and he's hanging onto the door while the car's swerving.
Yeah, exactly. And even when there's a scene where Ethel Merman's in a tow truck and her legs are sticking out the window, and the tow truck doesn't have a driver and it's going down a hill, backwards. That was a practical scene. I know it wasn't Ethel Merman, but there was really someone in that truck, and it goes off the ground, and it was just amazing, or off the road. It was amazing. And it's stuff like that you just can't do today, because some people get killed.
And it's funnier because it's practical.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, it's like special effects versus CGI. It's like you love it because they're really doing this.
I actually have this movie on DVD.
Oh.
I bought it. Oh man, it's got to be 25 years ago. I bought this. 30 years ago, I bought it on DVD. They even have DVDs 30 years ago. I don't remember, but I got it so long ago because again, it was so nostalgic for me because I used to watch it with my father that I would watch it even by myself, you know, and it was great. And it's one of my favorite movies from the 60s. It really is. I really enjoy this movie. The stacked cast is just it's beyond it. All three of these movies have a stacked cast.
Yes.
But this one had every single comedian from back then, except for probably George Burns. Yeah. Right? He wasn't in it, but all of the other ones were. And it was just the way it was done, the acting and the directing and the slapstick and you know, the Chevy Chase type of fall down comedy was amazing. All of it hit. It still holds up now, 62 years later, which is just beyond ridiculous. Yeah, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
You know, we forgot one person. We forgot Jim Backus.
Yes,
as the drunk pilot.
Yeah. Yes, he was perfect.
He was and they paid homage to Mr. Magoo when he's on that pool table. He's all, you know, hungover and stuff, and they. You know, he's like, I can't see. Yeah, I'm blind. You know,
thought of
that's just great. I mean, Jim Backus. I mean, he was always, he was one of the best parts of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah,
his character. You know, he really was.
It was the same character. He had a rich, snooty.
That was the one thing I noticed. They played their stereotypical characters. Phil Silvers was Sergeant Bilko.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Sid Caesar played himself. Jonathan Winters was the kind of stupid, hulky guy, you know. Yeah. And Dick Shawn was just so funny, crying the whole time.
Mama, I'm coming. I'm coming, Mama.
Fred,
this character is just great.
Oh,
I've only seen this movie once before I watched it again. And it was like you said, Rich, you know, it's nostalgia. It was like you know, when they used to have special movies on, you know, like, and they, you know, without commercials or whatever, 3 hours of, you know, this, and it was a holiday or something. They showed it, and it was just a big deal back then. But I haven't seen it since. I remember I liked it, you know, and it's still hey, Tony K, it's still entertaining. It's still very entertaining. Very. And like, if you're like one of those people that like the old comedians, the old actors, this movie's right up your alley.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Can you imagine if they did the same thing today with today's comedians? How much money this would cost?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they couldn't do it without swearing.
Oh no.
Oh,
yeah, that's another thing. They did this with pure 63, no swearing, no TNA.
Yeah.
It was great.
No, it was
done really well. 20K.
So what do you guys give it?
Big Mike?
I'll give it a 4.5. A solid 4.5.
I'm going to give it a 4.75. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done, big guy. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. 4.75.
Yeah. I'm giving it a solid 5. I mean, this is just a classic. The scene with the garage, I know I keep on saying this, is one of those when I'm in a really bad mood, I go on YouTube and just play that one. And that's that, and the scene after the locker room in Porky's when they're in the principal's office.
Yes.
That's those two just
Yeah.
It was last seen hanging around the boys' locker room.
Yeah.
And Londa, that young woman, Londa, she's being mean to us.
Well, this next movie's not going to help any either. It's 1976, Gumball Rally. I went and saw this at the movies when I was 13. And it made a lasting impression. I have not seen it since. Just like Mad World. This is another race movie. It's from New York to California. a bunch of race enthusiasts are racing for the vaunted Gumball Machine Trophy. There's no money involved. It's just the prestige of winning this trophy. And this stars Raul Julia, who is great in this. I mean, he even sings in this. Like I think he sings in most of his movies, doesn't he? Tequila Sunrise. I know he's sung in the Addams Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He steals. To me, he steals this movie. Yeah, Michael Cera's in. What's his name? Gosh, help me out here. Gary Busey. Gary Busey.
Oh my God, I loved him in that one.
Oh, he's great in this. I mean, if I was his co-pilot, I would have choked him out. But this, and then you have Norman Burton, who is a cop trying to catch them. He's been trying to catch them for a couple of years, and he just becomes the foil to all these pranks they pull. He can't catch them. He can't get a break catching these guys. And it's just a race from New York to California, and you've got these different groups, and they're all, except for the cops, the two high patrolmen that have these different stickers for every state they go through and uniforms so they can cheat. Basically, everybody's in classic cars except for the motorcycle driver, the crazy Hungarian, is played by this actor Harvey Jason, and he was in Jurassic Park: The Lost World. He played the hunter's Indian sidekick.
Oh,
if you look back at it,
oh my God,
yeah. But he's got some of the most slapstick in it, where he's constantly wrecking on his motorcycle, and he's just crazy. There's a lot of good stunts in this. All the actors in this actually drove these at high speed. So when you see them driving, and they're zooming down the highway, that's actually them. The Michael Sarazan and Raul Julia had to be taught how to drive stick by the blonde at the end. I guess she was a racing gal that, for all these car parts and stuff and drag races, those gals, and she had to teach them how to drive stick. This is a fun movie. It's got 1970s sensibilities, definitely, and it's not as outright hilarious as Mad World, but it's got a lot of humor in it. But it's just one of those movies that, I don't know, it made an impression on me. And it's a lot of fun. A lot of actors that you've seen and stuff. I don't know. I really enjoy this movie. I don't want to give too much away, just because if you haven't seen this, you should see it. There is a part I will give away, the Jaguar that never leaves the garage at the beginning. You know why they did that? Because they asked Jaguar to supply a Jaguar, and Jaguar said, "Nah, we're not going to do it." They got a Jaguar from somewhere else, and it was kind of like an FU to Jaguar, and they had
I did not know that.
The Jaguar never leave the garage. There's a lot of cool car scenes in this. Gary Busey and Raul Julia, I think, steal the show on this. The lead actors, not really. Michael Sarazan and Tim McIntyre, they really don't have much to do. It's the other actors, the other racers that have more pronounced roles in this. This is the basis for Cannonball Run. It's based on Cannonball Run, the real Cannonball Run, this one. But then you had a David Carradine movie that came out the same year called Cannonball, which is like, it was a grindhouse type of race movie. But then you had Cannonball Run and Cannonball Run 2 and Speed Zone come out after this. But what do you guys think of this movie?
So this is the first time I had ever seen this movie. I had not seen this before. I had known about it and I knew what it was, but it was just one of those flicks that had passed me by, or I had passed it by, and I had never seen it. So I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was quite good. So the old cars, just absolutely stunning, just beautiful. Some of the vehicles that they had in this, and the high speeds. I'm a high speed guy. I like well, I mean, I'm not in any way high speed. I'm fat and old, but I used to like to drive fast. I had some old muscle cars when I was younger, and the vehicles were just phenomenal, and the way they were cared for, and the way that, like you said, Alan, they were trained to race that. I did not know that the actual actors were the ones driving the cars, at 140 miles an hour. That's pretty amazing, really, because that's a lot of stuff can go wrong very quickly at those speeds. And I thought, like you said, there was some funny stuff that happened, but this wasn't really a comedy. It was more of an action film, I think, than a comedy. I think they were shooting for an action comedy, but it didn't really hit too much on the comedy. There were some funny things, like when they disabled the cop car at the beginning, before the race started, because of course they didn't want to get chased down. It was done really well. Michael Sarrazin, like you said, he was good, but Raul Julia, just as this Italian playboy that comes over, he gets hired as a ringer to run the races, and he starts hooking up with these girls, one of whom I had seen 100 times, and I don't know who she was.
Is that the one at the gas station?
Yes,
Colleen Camp.
Yeah,
Colleen Camp.
I had seen her so many times, and I was like, "Who is that?" And this was one of the I watched this when I was barely conscious the other night. I didn't look her up, but it's a good flick. A lot of good race stuff, a lot of high speed stuff. I recommend it. Raul Julia with his Playboy stuff, giving up the race to hook up with the girl in the convertible. It was just phenomenal. And then catching up and driving more. It was well done.
Fred, shh, you're being a pest tonight. I liked it. One of the things it reminded me when they kept on talking about the 55 mile an hour speed limit.
Yeah.
Because you young kids out there don't remember when that was it. It was 55 across the country. And I liked it because it was all the tricks they pulled on Roscoe.
Yeah.
Boxing him in at the beginning, going onto the truck, to go through the roadblock. It was fun. It was a B-grade movie. It was made to be humorous. It was humorous. I loved the Hungarian guy on the bike. He was the comic relief. He was always getting himself into trouble. It was great seeing Gary Busey as the young guy. He was funny. I first saw this in the movie theater with a whole bunch of my best friends, and we were like 16, 17. We were laughing like lunatics at the whole thing. But I didn't even realize until the end that Franco was Raul Julia. He just didn't. I just couldn't put them together. It was good. My favorite scene was when they go by Roscoe at 55.
Yeah.
And Roscoe gets mad.
Can't do anything.
He goes, why? Why me? And then he hit him, because you're an asshole, Roscoe.
Yeah. That's great. Raul Julia, where he takes the rearview mirror and he throws, I do not need to see what's behind me.
What's behind me? It's not important. And then at the end, when he gets that victory and he gets them all towed away, and then Michael Sarrazin walks by, Gumball.
Yeah, Gumball.
I mean, it was good. I think it was fun. It's enjoyable. I've seen it twice. I'd probably be another 10, 15 years before I see it again. But it's worth watching once.
Yeah.
Especially to see Raul Julia when he was like really young.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how about Busey too?
The mechanic or whatever that takes that Mercedes.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to take it over to California for that guy.
Yeah.
He goes through that sandstorm.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, crap.
Oh, and I love this. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
I love the scene when the cop pulls over the two cops and they pretend they're filming a movie.
Yeah.
And then they tell him, you're perfect for this. You just stand here. We'll go down and come back. And he's standing there. And like 10 more minutes into the movie, he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was great. So what do you guys give this one? Rich?
I'll give this one a solid 4. I enjoyed it. It's a movie I'll probably watch again just to see what I missed. So yeah, I'll give it a 4.
Scott?
I'll give it a 3.75. You know, it's not bad. It's not a great movie, but for me, it's mostly nostalgia.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna give it a solid 4. You know, I'll give it a solid 4 because I saw it when I was 13 and I was in love with that guy's girlfriend when I was 13.
Oh yeah, she was pretty.
Well, Rich, you got the big one.
You got the
I don't know about the big one. I got Cannonball Run, and I think that's the one that people know the most. Maybe it is the big one. Starring Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, Farrah Fawcett, Sammy Davis Jr., Jackie Chan, Dean Martin, Roger Moore, and the legendary Jack Elam. 1981's Cannonball Run is loosely based off an actual unsanctioned coast-to-coast race across America, which itself is based off Cannonball Baker, not to be confused with Scott Baker's Sea to Shining Sea race from the 1930s, which I didn't even know was a thing until I looked this up the other day. 2 other films, which Alan mentioned both of them, 1976, titled Cannonball and the Gumball Rally, were also based on this race. You may have recently heard of the Gumball Rally. And the 1981 film spawned 2 barely watchable sequels. If you missed seeing this in the 44 years it's been out, well, that's on you because I'm going to review the plot. A bunch of miscreants battle each other using speed deception, odd racing vehicles, the priesthood, and sex in a race from New York to Los Angeles, avoiding or confounding law enforcement and other races as they try to beat other teams and break the time record. That's the whole plot. There's subplots, but honestly, if you haven't watched this movie by now, you likely never will. Burt Reynolds uses his trademark laugh and good looks, and Dom DeLuise uses his absurdity and dissociative identity disorder as they drive an ambulance with a kidnapped beauty, Farrah Fawcett. They're chased by the evil A.J. Foyt. Did you guys know that was a ripoff of A.J. Foyt, not the racer? He made the guy's name was Arthur J. Foyt in the movie, so it was A.J. Foyt. He made it his personal mission to put the Cannonballs in jail and Farrah in his bed. He fails at both as the teams of racers make a fool out of him at every turn. I previously mentioned a stacked cast, but I didn't give them all to you because it just take too long. But Jack Elam steals the show as Dr. Van Helsing, a proctologist who's supposed to make the guys in the ambulance look legit. Jamie Farr is also great as the sheik who throws money at everyone and drives a Rolls Royce. Adrienne Barbeau and Tara Buckman, who I was in love with in the 80s, drive a Lamborghini. Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. drive a Ferrari. Mel Tillis and Terry Bradshaw drive a shitbox. Roger Moore plays himself as a spy and drives an Aston Martin. And there are several others who you'd know if you saw them there, like a very young Jackie Chan. Both Valerie Perrine and Peter Fonda have cameos, and one of my favorite actors from that era, Robert Tessier, plays one of the bikers. He's the bald guy from the other Burt Reynolds movie, The Longest Yard.
Longest Yard, yeah.
Yes. The film did great at the box office, grossing almost $12 million in its opening weekend and $72 million following. While people tended to love this film in 1981, critics did not, and all of the legit critics shit on this film at every turn. When I was a kid, I loved this movie, but now I can understand why the critics hated it. The film's comedy is a bit seasoned now and doesn't hold up in most places. Honestly, the comedy from Mad World was so much better. There's definitely a few hilarious scenes, most coming from Jack Elam, especially when he sips his own drugs out of a syringe. I've never tried it. Reynolds and Fawcett were absolutely terrible insofar as their acting in this film. In Farrah's defense, she had some crappy writing, but Reynolds just stunk. It was just bad. Some trivia on this, in addition to it being based on a real race, is that the Aston Martin had lots of trouble, and a stunt woman was critically injured during the making of the movie. I believe she ended up a quadriplegic. So you got to respect.
Is that why there was a switch in the women in the car?
No,
No.
that just because it was Roger Moore and he was picking up women as he went.
Oh,
Yeah.
In 2020, a new record of 25 hours and change was set for the actual Cannonball race. So that's coast to coast in 25 hours. They said the average speed to do that must have been 112 miles per hour. And this is not a race where, the cops aren't looking for them. That cops are definitely looking for them.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. Although I'm sort of slamming the film, I really think you should watch it if you haven't. There's some good parts, and some would argue that this whole film is a comedic gem. While I don't hate it, it certainly hasn't held up for me, with Farrah's acting being suboptimal and DeLuise's comedy being hit or miss. What did you guys think?
This is a weird movie. I like you when I first saw it, I thought it was hilarious, Smokey and the Bandit, and then this, and I love Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds how they play off each other, and they've made several movies after that, not just race movies.
Yeah.
But it's a weird movie. It's got a lot of racial jokes in it, especially towards Sammy Davis Jr.
Do that now.
And you're like, really? And but Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. were great in this. I mean, it's good to see Dean. Dean Martin was, I don't know, I was a big fan of Dean Martin. I always thought he was great. But this movie's just weird. They play off Dom DeLuise's, personality disorder. He gives that sad story about as a kid, and this is how it developed, and then it's just a weird comedic movie after, it's just weird. And then Farrah Fawcett's like, I thought I was going to wake up in a gangbang. It's like, wait a minute. How old are the kids that are watching? Because this is kind of a family kid type of movie in a way. It's not really, it wasn't rated R, So some of the stuff, you're just scratching your head going, what the hell? And the end was just, it's like they ran out of script. Though I do like the part at the end where Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds takes his mask and everything and throws it away, and Dom DeLuise goes down, comes up, I'm Captain USA, that I started giggling on that because that was just stupid but it was funny. But it doesn't hold up as to when I remember watching it. But like you said, Jack Elam does steal the show. I mean, when he's he finds out he's a proctologist and he sticks his finger in Burt Reynolds' face, right under his nose, and it's just, and then he said, I just gave her a little prick because she was, with my shot, I mean, that was funny. Peter Fonda's Easy Rider character, that was just, I don't know, man. I did not enjoy this movie this time, but I have no nostalgia to it because I don't think my folks watch this. They love Smokey and the Bandit, but I have no ties other than being a kid or not kid. I was a teenager. I was 17 when it came out. I didn't enjoy it this time. And Jackie Chan, they're playing Japanese, but they're obviously Chinese. And Jackie Chan got the idea. This was directed by Hal Needham, who was if you guys don't know it, he was a big stunt man in Hollywood. And I believe he made Smokey and the Bandit, a lot of Burt Reynolds car movies after that. Stroker Ace, the one with Jan Michael Vincent, the Stuntman or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he always put bloopers at the end of his movies. Well, Jackie Chan was in this. He got the idea because Jackie Chan puts bloopers in all of his movies from Hal Needham to put bloopers at the end of his movies. So something good came out of it. This one just didn't. Out of the three movies, this was the one I enjoyed the least. Farrah Fawcett, like you said, her acting, she was never really a great actress anyway.
Was it acting from her?
But as a 13-year-old, my uncle gave me two pretty cool presents, and which my parents did not like. Cheech and Chong album and a Farrah Fawcett poster, the one with the red one piece.
Yes.
I know all about that one.
Yes.
I had that.
So I always had a soft spot back then for Farrah Fawcett. And,
it wasn't soft.
But I just didn't enjoy this movie. Scott?
This is a classic example of you should not remake a movie. Gumball Rally was fun. I saw this when it first came out. I don't remember it. Last night was the first night I'd watched it since I saw it in the theater. It was like a bunch of high school kids realized on Friday afternoon that they had to make a movie by Monday morning, and they put the whole thing together in the weekend. You had great people in this. Roger Moore, Dean Martin, great comedic, Sammy Davis Jr., Dom DeLuise, and 90% of them sucked. You know, Farrah Fawcett was boring. Okay, this is a chase movie. Like Gumball Rally, there was no love romance. There was no, let's build up these characters. It was like 40 minutes before the race took off in this movie. You know, it was horrible. The acting was like it was like somebody said, okay, I don't have a script. This is what you're going to do. What the hell with Captain Chaos? You know, why? That was detracting from the Gumball Rally. To me, this movie focused on three things: Captain Chaos, fawning over Farrah, and Adrian Barbeau's boobs. And I will admit that was one of my favorite parts of the series when they had unzipped the thing. But everything else, and Peter Fonda. I mean, that was a good inside joke bringing him in. But
yeah,
this movie just was. It was really sad. You know what the funniest part of this movie was? The outtakes during the credits. So I was like really disappointed. This was one of the few movies that was like, how much? 30 minutes to go. 20 minutes to go.
Same.
Which is unusual because usually when you put Don DeLuise and Burt Reynolds together, you've got a classic movie that you're laughing at. But these two Don DeLuise was doing good, but Burt Reynolds was just phoning it in.
Yeah. He made $5 million on that movie. They paid him $5 million for that movie.
So that meant he was almost a third of the budget. They spent $18 million making that movie.
No, it's insane.
Yeah.
It like you said, Scott, it was like they got together and we got all these people and word salad, do whatever.
Yeah.
I did like the AJ Foyt character though. I mean, because he got screwed. Time blocked in the phone booth. He just but like in Gumball Rally, that character was the same character. He kept getting screwed over. The guy robbed him, took his pants.
Yeah.
Then the flasher comes up while he's in the cop car. And he's like, great. But yeah, this movie is just like they got together. They got all these people together and let's have a party. That's basically how it is. And if you're nostalgic for this movie, and I'm not, I don't want to, because some people do love this movie, and I don't want to be a dick and do that because there's movies I love that people say, that movie's stupid, but
you're also welcome to your opinion.
Maybe not watch it. Yeah, maybe not watch it again, and keep that nostalgia in your head for that movie. Because I always thought of this as hilarious. And then I watched it and it's like, this is a weird movie. It's like a word salad movie. It's just all over the place. Jamie Farr was great. His character was great.
He only was in it for a few minutes.
Yeah. And the Roger Moore character was dumb. It didn't know where to go with that character. You know what I mean? He was playing Roger Moore, but it just was silly.
It was a bit weak. I agree.
In fact, the producers of James Bond, when Hal Needham was talking about making a James Bond movie, the producer said, "Hey, let's talk about us suing you for that." So I don't know. And the second one's even worse, and Speed Zone's even worse than that. And Speed Zone is actually the third sequel. They just renamed it. So
Yeah. So I remember in the second movie, Jackie Chan's in the second movie, right? And he's with Richard Kiel. Am I remembering?
Oh yeah,
that
that's right.
Is it Jackie Chan again, or was it
I
Sho
don't.
Kosugi?
I think it was Sho Kosugi.
It might have been Sho Kosugi. I don't remember, but
I think.
that's literally the only thing I remember from that. Oh, was Roger Moore in it again with a Lotus? I'm
think
probably
he
mixing things up.
was.
But honestly, I don't remember that movie except that it was not good. And this was coming off of the Cannonball Run, which I thought was very good at the time. So this movie doesn't have any nostalgia for me. I saw it as a kid. I saw it in the movie theater, and I was like, yeah, that was good. That was funny. And I had watched it maybe one other time before. I watched it last night. One other time before then, and I thought it was good then too. And last night I watched it, and I was like, this is kind of dumb. And like you said, the racial jokes toward Sammy Davis Jr. and the sex stuff that was, going from the two Lamborghini drivers and from Farah and toward Farah, you just couldn't do that now. I mean, not with a mainstream actress. You could do it with like probably a B actress. But Farrah's lines were just they were delivered so bad. And Burt Reynolds, I used to like his laugh, that little cackle hyena laugh, and now that just grated on me. I was watching that last night. I'm like, oh man, it just grates on me.
And the more you read about him as a person, you find out more about him. You kind of like, you can see it, Yeah. Jackie Chan was in the second one. I mean, the second one had a big ass a bigger cast than this one. You had Tony Danza, Tim Conway, Sid Caesar was actually in it, Buster Brooks, Susan Anton, and Catherine Bach. I mean, Telly Savalas, Mary Lou Henner, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis again. They had a big cast too.
I don't think I saw that one. I think I saw the previews for that one and was like, no, I'm going to avoid this.
You see Landis?
Yeah, she's really mean to us tonight. What do you mean that Santa isn't real?
I'm not sure I know what she's talking
real, right?
Are you telling us Santa's not real?
Santa's real, right, guys?
You guys didn't hear that, did you? No.
Okay.
They're good.
Landa, don't be mean to me.
My children were almost ruined.
Now you'll be telling me the Easter bunnies are fake.
Yeah, I think of the three of these movies, this is a film that I just will not watch again.
No.
I don't ever need to see Cannonball Run again. And it's weird because we actually know a guy, all three of us know a guy who's been in the actual Cannonball Run. David Simpson. I don't know if you guys are aware. He's actually been in the race.
Zombie Road, David?
David Simpson, yes.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
So, yeah, he posts it sometimes. He'll post stuff about it. He's the one who told me, that's how I found out that the record had been broken just it's like 5 years ago they broke the record. And it was 25 hours. It was 25. They have it down to like the 100th of a second, but that doesn't really. It's 25 hours and change. Now, think about that. When I was driving home from Florida to my house, northern Florida, to my house in Massachusetts, and that took 24 hours in a freaking Ryder truck. I was bringing my grandma's stuff up from Florida up to here, and I didn't stop. I did the whole way. I was with my dad, and we drove the whole way, and that took 24 hours.
Yeah.
So going across the country, like illegally, like they didn't have a set road. Well, they had a set road, but they didn't, like, no police. They didn't clear it for them or anything. You just had to be careful and not get caught.
Yeah, but once you get like beyond the Mississippi River, it's just nothing until you get to the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, unless the cops know what's going on, and then they're going to be looking for you with a helicopter. So.
Well, one of the producers in this actually participated in that. Actually used that ambulance to race in it with a doctor and his wife as the patient. So that part was actually based on real. In fact, Hal Needham later on donated that ambulance to some charity, and they sold it off made some good money off it.
Hmm.
So that was cool there. I mean, so there you go, Landa. We're throwing out some good stuff towards this movie. But yeah, I have no connection to this movie. Now Smokey and the Bandit. Oh, love that movie.
Oh,
That's a lot of fun.
So there's actually a reference.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
there is.
he said, "Oh, maybe we should get a black Trans Am."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And a black Trans Am shows up at the end too. At the last scene, we're all at the docks.
Yeah.
Oh.
A couple
but Mel
of the cop
Tillis
cars with Trans Ams as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mel Tillis and Terry Bradshaw were great in this too.
Yeah.
And they loved them so much in this, they were going to make a TV series. As head of some network was going to do it, make with those two characters, and that head of that network got fired, so it fell through. But that would have been interesting. And it's funny to see Terry Bradshaw, back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it had parts in it, but it just, was like, hey, let's get together, party, we'll make some money, and whatever happens, whether it's funny or not.
Yeah, I mean, with a stacked cast like that, I mean, especially some of the people that were in it, it really should have been funny. It should have been, the jokes shouldn't have been so terrible. I mean, I know the actors don't write the joke. It's written by whoever wrote the joke writer, but at the same time, they're delivering it, and it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It was definitely mad world.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, I don't know. I thought I'd be watching it and just, laughing. And I did get some laughs out of it, especially Jack Elam, that
he was
Jack Elam. He could just show up and make you laugh though. He's like Rodney Dangerfield. He just, shows up and you just laugh at the guy's being, he's just so odd looking. But, so what do you guys give this one? Rich?
This is a tough one. I'll probably give this one a 2.75. It's not worthy of a 3. And it didn't suck. It did not captivate me like I wanted it to. So yeah, I'll drop it down to a 2.75.
Scott?
1. And the only reason I give it that was because you got to see a lot of Adrian Barbeau's boobs.
I like that scene where they pull up and it's Valerie Perrine shows up.
Yeah. Was that Valerie Perrine, the female?
Yeah, that trooper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she had just a tiny role. I'll give it a 3. There were some bits that made me laugh, but I will never watch this movie again.
No.
Never, ever. The rating's not linked, guys.
I had a great point, but Adrian had 2. So.
Yeah. I'm sorry, folks, if we upset anybody tonight. Remember, these are just our opinions. We're just 3 guys here, and these are our opinions.
Did you guys see that Doc Fried snuck in a little while ago?
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Doc. Is Doc in here? I didn't see that.
Yeah, she snuck in.
Yeah, so I guess we got it covered. Next week, we're going to give you a heads up on this one. Next week, it's going to be Apocalypse Now, The Deer Hunter, and what was the third one we decided on?
Green Berets with John Wayne.
The Green Berets, the old Green Beret movie. So we're doing 3 different takes on the Vietnam War.
I think all 3 of those movies are like 3.5 hours long too.
Yeah.
All of them are pretty hefty.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Time in.
Yeah.
And Green Berets has another Asian actor, George Takei, who is Chinese, playing a Vietnamese officer.
He wasn't Japanese? Because wasn't he in an internment camp? He's Japanese. He's Japanese.
Japanese. Okay.
Yeah, he's Japanese. Yeah. Because he was in an internment camp.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
I agree, Dan.
Yeah, and I love that movie, but That's, for the show. So join us next week with Apocalypse Now, Deer Hunter, and the Green Berets. So if you got time, watch all three or one or two of them.
Thanks, Landa.
Let's see next week.
All right, guys. Well, that's our hour. Thank you so much. Tune in next week as we watch some Vietnam movies with blood and guts. Some big actors next week too. A lot of big stars. Some stacked casts. We will see you then.
And have a happy Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Oh, that's
yes.
right.
Have
That's
a great one.
weekend. I get a day off.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Stay weird.
Stay weird.
All right, Weirdlings, that's all for watching Wyrd this week. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, the strange and unusual never sleeps. Well, except for maybe on Thursdays. Speaking of sleep schedules, here's a quick reminder about our other shows. Dive into the mysteries of the mind with Weird Awakenings every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cozy up with blondes, books, and campfire tales for spooky stories every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hone your craft and connect with fellow writers on Write With Me on the third Sunday of each month. And don't forget, Watching Wyrd now airs live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all things weird, find us on social media via Linktree in the description below, or visit our website at weirdrealities.net. Stay weird.